Hello, I'm Christina, and I'm here with Martina, and we are your podcast hosts for Everyday Ordinary, Extraordinary Women. We were inspired to create this podcast after pondering this question: what would a world look like where we can be inspired by every person? Usually, we're very quick to compare and judge ourselves and others, and when we do that, everybody is losing. Depending on my point of view, I can either feel small because I came out lacking, or arrogant and dismissive because I feel superior. Those are the only two options from that point of view, and neither of those make us feel very good. So, here's our thought: someone's everyday normal is someone else's extraordinary. Judgment comes from our first impressions, so we invite you, the listener, to go beyond your first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There's magic at every corner, in everyone, if we are only willing to look. So today we have with us Antoinette, and we are so excited to have you here today. Antoinette, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name's Antoinette Ludden. I'm a doctor of holistic medicine, acupuncture, and Chinese herbs.
Fantastic. And do you want to say where you live?
I live in Cold Spring Harbor. My office is in Oyster Bay.
Fantastic. So
And you have a daughter and you have two grandchildren that you love and adore, right?
Yes, I have a daughter. She's 38 and two grandsons.
So, A, you don't look old enough to have a daughter that old or grandchildren. So, just
Yes.
want to say that to everyone who's out there not seeing Antoinette live and in person.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So, Antoinette, first, I just want to acknowledge you as an acupuncturist for 30 years. The commitment that you bring to the planet for healing people is just so beautiful, and especially to choose acupuncture at a time when there weren't a lot of Westerners in that field. It's really extraordinary. And as someone who's been receiving acupuncture for about 25 years, I so appreciate what you bring to the planet. It is much needed, and I just in love with people who choose the alternative healing modalities. And so, thank you for taking that path less chosen to bring this extraordinary gift to the planet.
Thank you. Yes.
So, Antoinette, can you finish this sentence? If you really knew me, you would know. What would we know about you if we really knew you?
That I'm humble and kind, and I want goodness in the world. That's what I would say about myself.
It's yummy. It's very, very yummy. Thank you. And yes, you are. So, tell us something funny, silly, or a silly or embarrassing story.
I was reading those questions, and I could only think of something interesting and something memorable. And my story is that about judging a person. And I had this patient come in, and she had took an overdose of medication and alcohol. And she went to the emergency room, and just because she had that stigma attached to her, they left her on a gurney in the emergency room, and they put the blood pressure cuff on her and pumped it up to maximum where you're supposed to release it. But they just left her there with the cuff on for almost overnight. And she was basically unconscious at that point. And so when she appeared at my office, she was referred to me by another patient. She appeared at my office with an arm, her right arm, that was dead. It was like a fish. It was completely dead with no use. And she told me this story of what happened, and I felt so appalled that someone would just leave another person in the waiting room because she came in with an overdose. So she asked me, Antoinette, do you think you can help me with acupuncture? And I said, I think so. I'm pretty sure if you come twice a week over the next year, maybe 3 times a week, I think you'll have use back. She's like, all I want to do is hold my grandchild. So after time passed, more and more use became possible. And finally, after the year, just about a year and a half, she had full use. And I always say to myself, it's a shame that people judge people by something they did and not look at them as a whole person. So that's my interesting story.
So many tidbits in there too, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, it's amazing that she actually has full use of her arm. And she still contacts me all the time and thanks me for
I'm sure
help.
she's referred plenty of other people to you too.
Yes. Yeah, she has.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to leave someone in a hospital, I mean, malpractice, let alone, but just if your job is to be of service to let your judgments be in the way of the service that you're supposed to be that you're being paid for too is so gross and gets me so upset. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very upsetting that people would be so negligent and just leave her there because she took drugs or alcohol.
And it may, it's interesting because it may not necessarily even be that's the reason why it happened, right? It could be that they were just negligent in general or overworked. Or I know my mom was a nurse, and my mom towards the end had cancer and was in the hospital, and we went in one morning to visit her, and she wasn't covered. She was like her diaper was showing, like, and it was a hospital that my mother had worked in, and I was so appalled that my mother would be left in that condition. But I know that they were understaffed, that there was so much going on, and so I try hard not to judge the situation too, right? Like who knows what was going on. The bottom line is she did not get the care she needed in that situation though.
Exactly.
And you definitely saved the day because there probably wasn't a lot of people who could get her to that point after that situation.
No, there wouldn't be. So that's my interesting story.
It's beautiful.
I have a lot of them.
Oh, I'm
But it's also interesting because, you know, Christina, where you went, right? For me, I went immediately, oh, wow, they're so overworked. They don't have the capacity for that, right? And it's like, it's where we humans land, right? In our conversations, because we could have landed in the compassion or the love or the anger or and it's always where our brain takes us, right? I think that's a fascinating part of that story because there's so much in it, right?
Exactly.
sure. And what it reminds us of from the past, right? For me, it clearly brings up my mother, like, and how mad I was at that situation. And that's always good to see too, right? The lens that we see life through sometimes gets in the way of seeing from other lenses, right? Like, so yeah.
And that's also true for the story where you said, Antoinette, where you worked with her and you were able to help her come back, like have the usage of her arm back, right? Because that's another thing that depending on who looks at it says, oh, this is done, sorry, well, it's too late, right? But like it's where we stand, where we choose to stand to look at the situation, right? Is there a solution? Is it figure outable? Is it, you know, like Marie Forleo says, is it figure outable or not, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, she did go to other doctors and everyone said, that's it. You're stuck with this. And I was so happy she found me.
yeah.
Sure, because normal doctors are seeing it from the physiological point of view, and they don't see energy at all. And
No,
so,
they don't.
yeah. And energy is so, I mean, we are all energy, everything is energy. And for that to be discounted in how we approach healing the body is such a missing in our modern medical world, in my opinion.
Mine as well.
Yeah. So, what would you say your superpower is, Antoinette?
I would say being able to do what I do. And I feel like I am blessed with a gift because all my patients come in here and they're like, well, how did you know? I didn't tell you that my, neck hurts me. How did you know to put the needles in my stomach? I didn't tell you. And I'm like, I just know. It's just something in my head that tells me what to do. I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you I know. And
Intuition.
my intuition.
My
Yeah,
massage clients sometimes ask me, "Why'd you put your hands there? That's exactly where I hurt." And I usually go, "It's magic."
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's hard to explain, but you just know.
Yep. But I
Mhm.
think that also comes back to loving what you do and the passion for what you do. I think that feeds that intuition and that knowing with your clients. But once again, it's the energy that we're picking up on. Like we can, you work with enough people, you can feel the blockages. You can feel where the energy isn't flowing and where it's flowing too fast, right? And so I think it's all part of that intuition too, right?
Yeah,
That learning how to read all of those things too.
yeah,
Well, what I was going to say, it's all part of the connection. Like we're all connected, right? If we're all energy, we're all connected.
Right.
It's not solid. I end here and you start here, but it's
Absolutely.
all so yeah. And we all have that gift, right? It's like sometimes I can tell you where you need to stick the needles, and I'm like, I
yeah,
have no idea why, but this is where it needs to go, right? So it's
exactly.
but often we don't trust it, right? I believe everybody has it, but often humans don't trust it. I'm going to say enough, right? That
Yes.
gut feeling of where something needs to be. So yeah,
Agreed.
beautiful. Thank you. So what made you who you are today? So this is a long question, okay? So you pick one or you pick several to answer, might all be answered with one, like, let me see how I can say that. They might all be answered with the same thing or not.
Mhm.
So what made you who you are today? So what I mean by that is what was your biggest lesson, or what took most courage, or when did you stand up for something that mattered to you?
Okay, well, what made me today was actually a very bad situation. I was in a horrible marriage and I knew at a young age, and I knew that I only could depend on myself. And I had a daughter, so I had to be strong, and I had to change my entire life and be strong, go back to school, create another career for myself. And if I wasn't in that horrible marriage, married to such a terrible person, I don't think I may have found this path. I probably wouldn't have. So I'm grateful for that situation that led me to what I'm doing now.
So he was a gift.
It was a gift. It was a gift. It was bad at the time, but I've learned that that was a gift to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You know,
funny. It's funny how the kick in the butts come, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a hard journey, and difficult lessons, but I learned a lot from them.
yeah.
A lot
You
of
know,
life lessons.
I think it's a common theme in this podcast, right? It's we don't really grow from the yummy stuff in life, right? We grow from the hard stuff because it's
Yeah.
prickly and it forces us to really look at ourselves and what we really want and and so when you're in those tough times, it's always like, ooh, okay, what do I want to learn from this, right? Like, come on, like doesn't
Yeah,
feel so
you
good,
just
but
want to hide or have the world be better for yourself, but you also have to learn that it's a life lesson, and from something bad came something great.
yeah, yeah,
It's beautiful.
beautiful.
You know, it reminds me of Debbie Ford wrote the book Spiritual Divorce.
Mhm.
And And at the end of the book, she talks about the wedding gifts. And spiritual divorce, yes, she talks about her relationship ending with her partner, but it's any separation, right? Whether it is with your country, with your child, with your whatever, any relationship, right? And she talks about what were the wedding gifts, right? At the end of the day, what were the, like, who did you become
Yeah.
because of that relationship? And those are the wedding gifts, right? That we often neglect to look at, right? Because sometimes we get attached to, well, it should have been different, or whatever the situation is, right? So
Yeah, because I recognized it was a bad situation
the
and change. I was saying how fearful it is to change your whole lifestyle. And instead of fearing it, I embraced it and moved forward in a more positive direction for my life and my daughter.
well,
So
I also heard that there's such a stigma with regards to being divorced, right? There is this, like, there's a huge, like you're a persona non grata, right? You don't belong here anymore. You lose friends, you lose like a lot of, which makes it even more challenging, right? More
Yeah,
growth opportunities.
I mean, all like the friends of married couples, you're no longer like included in those parties, and you have to realize that that's going to happen. But that's okay. You learn who your real friends are, people that really stand by you and support you.
yeah, and that's
That's
one of the
another
other
gift.
beautiful gifts, right?
Those are gifts.
Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely.
So, mhm.
So Antoinette, what fills you up? What recharges your batteries so that you have it to give back to all your clients and all the other people who really count on you?
What fills me up? Like I have many hobbies. So I love my garden. So I'll go home tonight and I have vegetables growing. I have flowers going. So basically the weekend I'm gardening. And I also have always played the piano, like concert pianist. So I'll go home and practice, and that fills me up and gives me joy. And it just makes me feel so calm and peaceful when I'm in those environments.
I can so get it. It's working because you are a calm and peaceful person in general. So clearly, what you're doing to fill you up is really working.
And cooking, I love cooking. I love I have so many hobbies.
I love it. So you're passionate about life, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, yes.
Fantastic.
Now I have a question that is not, it's nowhere anywhere, but how good are you about, you know, I know with acupuncture comes a way of eating as well, and I know you needle yourself, right?
Yes.
But are you super good about eating right and all of that, or
Yes, yes. I'm very conscious of what I eat and all of the preservatives in the food, non-GMO. I like to grow a lot in my garden, like in the summer, of
Mhm.
course, and it's all organic. I know what I'm putting into my body. Um, I am very careful. Yes.
If you do cheat, Antoinette, what's your cheat?
Gosh. I mean, it's so funny because I grew to like, I don't eat sweets. I don't even like them. I mean, I would much rather eat a Brussels sprout than chocolate. I don't really cheat that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been into berries with almond milk cream, like whipped cream. That's been my
Delicious.
latest indulgence lately.
That's delicious. That I cheat.
Let's
Cream.
girl, I have ice cream too. But my berries with my either coconut milk or almond milk whipped cream makes me very happy lately. So I'm
Sounds
trying.
delicious.
Trying to do better over here.
working on it, right? Working on
I'm
it.
always a
Life
work in
for a
progress.
lifetime. For a lifetime. So next question is just well, it's more, yeah. It's about the time when you took a chance for love. And it doesn't have to be necessarily romantic love. When did you take a chance for love?
Well, I took another chance for love about 2.5 years ago. I had my best friend, his name is Charlie. He was my dog, and he lived to 8 or 9, just about 9. And I would bring him to the office every day, and he'd greet all the patients. I let him go out in the office. I had him certified as a, a dog that you could bring into the hospitals and old age home. And I used to do that on the weekends with him. And he was the best dog. He was a human, but a dog. And he died. And I was crushed when that happened. And I just never thought I had the heart to get another dog. And the breeder kept calling me up, Antoinette, you have to stop this. You're meant to have another dog. I'm like, I just couldn't. I couldn't. And she's like, you have all the love in your heart. Take another chance. And then I got my dog that I have now. And he's not quite Charlie, but he is adorable and cute. And I love him.
Oh, and
So
what kind of
that's
dog
my,
is he?
he's a King Charles Cavalier.
Oh, they're so sweet.
Yeah. And the other one was a King Charles Cavalier. They're like the same grandmother, mom, the same family. So although he's so different, but every dog is different. And
Mm-hmm.
I would never be able to let him go and walk around the office. No. He would bark, he would tear apart the plant, he just wouldn't be good. He's right here snoring
But
away.
it's interesting. It's interesting because what pops in my mind is, I guess that's the dog you need right now. The other
I
dog, Charlie, was the dog you needed at that time, and now you need a different kind of dog for whichever reason,
know,
right?
I
It's
know,
like he's
I
here
always
to teach
say,
you.
I love you and you're a handful, but you're mine and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's funny what they have to teach us, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Sure is. Hmm.
So, Antoinette, if you had a magic wand and could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
Oh wow. Um, I think I would want everyone to be kind to each other. If I could wave a wand over people, I would say kindness and treat everyone like you want to be treated. And don't judge. And people are people, so be kind. That's what I would wish. And peace in this world for people. That's what
Yeah.
I would wave over people. Yeah.
I was just so, we have a lot of events at school right now, and they were talking about kindness being an action, which I thought was really beautiful, right? It's different, like it's something, like it's attached to something, right? To an action. It's not just a way of being, right? It's like reaching out a hand, it's getting out of the way. And I was like, wow, that's actually beautiful as an imagery, right? And if everybody would have that little bit of, it's almost like I want to say empathy, because it is like kindness comes with empathy, or empathy comes with kindness.
And also, I think it becomes contagious.
Yes.
If someone's kind to you, then you feel
Yeah.
good
Someone
and
holds the door for you, then you want to go do something nice for someone.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If
Yep.
someone makes you smile, you
Yep.
make someone else smile.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
the opposite is true as well. If someone makes you angry, then you're going to go looking like you're angry. and act angry. And that's, to me, anger you just inflict and it hurts you internally. So I try to release all that and be happy and content.
And it's a choice, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a choice.
You said, well, somebody's towards you and then you're angry, and that's not necessarily the case, right? Because we can go to the place of bringing love and understanding to it, or just say, wow, okay, that did not work for me, but thank you, no thank you, I'm out of here, or however we deal with it rather than taking it on, right? And that's one of the biggest challenges we have in life.
It is.
I would say.
It's life lessons.
Yeah, like not taking it personally, right? And just letting it roll off your back. Like so much, like people say things and then we're like, oh, what did they mean by it? And
Oh, I know.
we process it and it's like, can you just let it go? Like they just said what they said. Keep moving,
Exactly.
right?
Like, no, I didn't say that so literally, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's also that often we listen. When we listen to people, we listen with, I'm going to say, with our past in our lap, right? So we're not really hearing what people have to say. We just hear it filtered through our past, and that's how our answer is going to be towards what anybody says, right?
Exactly.
So we're not really hearing what people, we just hear it through, oh, again, or, remembering, or, that somebody said that before, and we just keep bringing it back rather than saying, oh, can you say that again? I did not hear you.
Exactly.
Did you mean this? Did you really mean to insult me?
Right.
So here's the next question, and it's kind of long as well, but you pick. It's like, who do you want to be when you grow up? So if you could be anything or anyone, if there would be no restrictions with regards to time or money, no limitations, what would you be, or who would you be, and why?
I'd be someone that would be able to make change in this world. I would say someone like, although her fate was not very good, maybe Princess Diana, because she had the ability to use her status to help the world be a better place. And I'd want to be someone like that, just so I could touch others and use the status I had to help. That's what I'd like to be.
So beautiful.
Magnifying your impact by a million, right?
Yes, yes. To be able to have that knowledge and being and power to help change the world.
I was gonna say platform because I feel like who you are already, Antoinette, is you exude that calm and peace, and like the energy you're putting out into the world is that already. So all you're lacking is the platform.
Exactly.
So who knows?
Yeah.
You may fulfill on this. We'll be waiting to watch.
Well, and at the same time, there is like, I imagine that you have a much bigger impact than what you think you do, right? Because like it's ripple effects always, right? It's like you have one person on the table. You said usually it's a whole family, or often there's whole families that come, but you have one person on the table, and you leave that person different, that gets like touches, I don't know, 5 lives or 10 lives,
Mm-hmm.
and those touch another 5 or 10 lives. And so our impact, I believe, is much bigger than what we think. But what I hear you say is like you would love to have an explosion of that.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm down for an explosion of Antoinette love in the planet. Yes,
Yes.
for sure. Yeah. All right. I'm doing my Christina is enrolled in juicy possibility. I will fall in love with everyone who's on this podcast because you're all amazing. And so I can't help geeking out on everyone's
Thank you.
possibilities.
Yep.
So, what do you want people to remember about you, Antoinette?
I'd like people to remember that I'm honest and caring, nurturing, and very humble. I guess that's what I'd like people to remember about me. And always there. And if you need anything, you could call me up no matter what time. I'll be there to help. And
You're
true.
also somebody who creates family, right?
Yes.
Or makes everybody your family, which is what you said, right? You're available. You're here for people.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I just want to be, I guess people could remember me as the person that they can count on for anything, no matter what.
Yeah, me.
We all need more of you around, Antoinette.
So, one more question. What are you most proud of? Like, what do you consider your biggest accomplishment?
I would say there's several of them. I am very blessed to have my mom and dad with me. And my biggest accomplishment is that I can help them daily. My mom works at my office. I give her a job,
Aww.
which really keeps her going because she's 82 years old. And I think if she didn't have the job to go to, she would really be lost. And my accomplishment is like I have the ability to keep my parents going, and I accomplished having a beautiful daughter, now 2 grandsons, and my family life is very nice, and I'm blessed for that. So that's what I feel like I accomplished in my life, plus my job.
Yeah, so beautiful. Like that you've created this legacy, right? That you've all these lives that you've impacted with your business, but then also that your daughter and your grandchildren and your mom working in your office, that you've created this.
And the blessing is that because of the one bad thing, I'm sure I've had many bad things happen to me in my life, but that life-changing event, I was able to go to acupuncture school, persevere through it. It was very difficult. I had to take my child to school with me every day, pick her up at school, take her. Sometimes I was at school till 11 o'clock, doing her homework in my classroom, bringing her home. And then she became an acupuncturist.
Oh,
And she's an acupuncturist now. So I'm grateful that I passed my profession onto her, and it was like second nature. She's been doing acupuncture since she's been 3 or 4 years old. So that's a real big accomplishment.
it is a true legacy then. Yeah, so beautiful. I get goosebumps. Yeah, it's
Oh, yes.
just really beautiful.
Thank you.
It is so powerful when they are so clear on who they are, right? You know, my daughter wasn't an acupuncturist, but she would go to the acupuncturist and tell them exactly where she needed the needles, you know, and you know, in a way, yes. So she was the acupuncturist at that point.
Exactly. She knew.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's beautiful that you gave her that gift. So
I'm very, very pleased that she followed my profession.
beautiful. So Antoinette, thank you. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much
you. Thank you for inviting me. It's very kind of you. Thank you.
thank you for gifting us with your time and your beauty and your calm and your generosity and your love, love, love. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for you out there, thank you for being here, for listening. If you love this, please leave us a review and please share. Please share so more people can hear this. And please always remember that you are extraordinary. You rock. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Christina, you want to say bye?
Bye for now.